Despite all his success, the money he's made, the businesses he's built, the lives he's changed, Alex Hormozi admitted something most people weren't expecting. He doesn't feel fulfilled. And here's the uncomfortable truth. That's not going to change. Not in a year, not in 5, maybe not in a lifetime. I say this with genuine respect and no ill intent whatsoever. This isn't something I'm hoping for or wishing on him, just a prediction. And I say that as someone who spent the last 7 years going deep into Tony Robbins' work. Between my wife and I, we've invested over 7 figures into his mastermind. I've personally attended over 50 events, some of them multiple times. Not because I didn't understand the material, I did, but because understanding isn't the same as conditioning. Happiness and fulfillment aren't things you figure out once and then you've got them. They're things you condition over and over again. And let me be clear about this because it took me about 3 years to truly grasp it. I had already been to a lot of Tony events by then, years worth. But then one day, at an event called Platinum Happiness, Tony walked on stage and the very first thing he said was, "Happiness is a habit." And that hit me hard, not because it was new information, but because I finally understood what I'd been missing. I thought I was supposed to have a breakthrough, some moment where happiness just clicked. That's not how it works. You don't arrive at happiness. It doesn't just happen one day. You train it, you return to it, and you make it your identity. And most people, including Alex, and a lot of people reacting to that interview, haven't even started the process. Because realizing you're unfulfilled feels like progress, but it's only the starting line. If you didn't see the interview, here's what happened. Alex sat down with Tony Robbins and admitted very openly that he doesn't really feel joy, doesn't feel fulfillment, even when he wins. And the internet lit up. People said things like, "Wow, I feel the same way," or "This interview really changed me." And here's what I want to say to those people. That's not the change. That's the illusion of change. Insight doesn't change you. Awareness isn't mastery. And if you don't know the difference, you'll keep resonating with other people's pain instead of doing the work to move through your own. You'll keep feeling seen without ever becoming different.
The difficulty that I have is like, I work the hours that I'm awake, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the difficulty that I have is finding enjoyment outside of work. Maybe the first couple months it felt like something, but then on like the 100th and the 1000th, I was like, well, yeah, of course you stopped, you moved better and you stopped eating shit and it worked out, like it's basically the magic was gone for me. I don't even feel in some ways that I am driven. I do this because I don't know what else to do. It's like, this is the only thing I'm good at.
Yeah.
And so I do what I've been rewarded for doing. And so I came up with a mantra for myself, which you might laugh at, which was fuck happiness. Because I felt so rejected by the notion.
That was raw and honest, and it took a lot to say that in front of millions of people. But here's what most people misunderstood about this moment. They assumed that because Alex admitted it, he's on his way to changing it. But the truth is, and I say this with respect, he's still at the very first stage. What Tony calls cognitive mastery, having an intellectual understanding. You can describe the problem, you can see the pattern, but none of that means you've shifted your emotional state or changed your identity. Fulfillment doesn't just happen because you realize that you're not fulfilled. That realization feels like a breakthrough, but it's really just the beginning. And to get there, that's going to require more of you, a lot more.
Your words shape your psychology. And so a few word changes, as stupid as that sounded, but starting over was my trance for being in pain. But linguistics change how the brain functions.
That's the part almost no one talks about. People think fulfillment is a mindset shift, a realization. But what Tony's saying, and what I've experienced firsthand, is that fulfillment is built through repetition. It's a habit you train, like a muscle. And people ask me all the time, why do you keep going to the same Tony Robbins event over and over again? My answer? Because I'm not trying to understand fulfillment. I'm working to condition it. Now, I'll be honest, maybe it did take me a while. It wasn't until about 3 years in, going to event after event, that it finally landed for me. So if this saves you 3 years of figuring that out, I'm good with that, because this work isn't about getting it, it's about becoming it.
For you, it's like, I know what my passion is there. You can feel my passion. I'm not talking to an analytical guy. Come back to the analytic. I'm going to crush something. It's going to feel so good. I'm going to feel so much joy. I'm going to do X for this many young men. And it's going to be part of who I am and my legacy and what I'm going to live and what I'm going to enjoy, not someday along the way.
That's the second level Tony teaches, emotional mastery. It's where you don't just know fulfillment is possible, you begin to feel it more often. You train your nervous system to return to it. And I'll say this humbly, I don't always get it right. I still get frustrated. I still get thrown off, but I've trained myself to catch it, to shift. And over time, it becomes faster. That's the game, not being perfect, but becoming resilient. And the goal isn't to be happy all the time. It's to return to what Tony calls a beautiful state. Peace, joy, confidence, love, any state where you're not suffering.
The strongest force is that we need to stay consistent with the way we identify ourselves, right? Identity is the controlling force of human being. I literally took the word depression out of my vocabulary. I've never used it again. I felt down, I felt pissed off, I felt frustrated, I felt sad, I felt overwhelmed in moments. I've never felt depressed.
That's the third level, physical mastery. It's where fulfillment becomes your identity. You don't have to think about shifting your state. You just live from that place. You've practiced coming back to that beautiful state so many times that it becomes your baseline. And to be clear, I don't live there 24/7, but I do come back to it faster. And that difference matters more than people realize. That's what practice creates. That's mastery. It's what makes fulfillment sustainable.
Two skills in life. There's the science of achievement, which you're unbelievably great at, and there's the art of fulfillment, which you're not so great at,
Horrendous.
by your description. Your brain will never make you happy. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It won't even allow you to enjoy an apple. You go, is it organic? It's like your brain is analyzing so much. You got so stuck up here that you're missing this magnificent human being that I see in front of me here. You're missing to have the joy of him.
That's it. Achievement is like a science. It's straightforward. You have an input and you get an output. You put in the work, you get a result. Alex has mastered that. But fulfillment, that's an art. It's lived, not measured. It shows up most in our relationships, in intimacy, presence, and vulnerability. That's where the real joy is. And ironically, those are the places high achievers like to avoid, myself included. It's like the practice of medicine. There's a science to it. There are protocols, checklists, and systems. But healing people is an art. And art requires compassion. That's what defines the doctor-patient relationship. And that's why so many high achievers fail at fulfillment. You not only have to practice it until it becomes a habit, you also need to go to places you don't really want to go. The other thing that struck me was how people responded to the interview. So many posts on social media were like, "This hit me hard. I feel the same way. This made me think. And look, I get it." Those reactions make sense. But here's the hard truth. Resonating with pain isn't the same as making a change. Most of those people, they're still in the same emotional place as Alex. They're still sitting with the cognitive understanding, not where change happens. They just think they're further along because they know it. But this awareness doesn't change their emotional baseline. They haven't done the work, not the emotional work, not the identity work. And if they don't start, they'll be in the same place they are now, having the same realizations and still feeling stuck, just like Alex will be, unless he treats fulfillment like something worth mastering. So here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Fulfillment isn't a moment. It's not a quote, it's not an insight, it's a habit. And unless you train it like something you want to master, nothing's going to change. Not for Alex, not for anyone watching. Understanding can open the door, but only practice walks you through it. But there is a path, and if this message helps you step into it, that's what matters. Tony runs a free challenge called Time to Rise every year. And if you're ready to stop chasing and start building something that actually fulfills you, check it out. It's free to watch on YouTube. And finally, thank you. Thank you to Alex for being honest enough to share where he's really at. Thank you to Tony for giving so many of us the tools and the space to figure this stuff out. I'm still doing the work, and I hope this helps someone else do the same. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.